Any other questions?
Yeah, I just had a question. I came across this podcast about the possibility of a nuclear waste storage facility. Just there's a proposal for one to open in South Bruce, and I know that's not technically in the Grey Highlands, but
Yep.
Is this something that's on your radar, and how would that possibly affect your growth plans?
So I've heard about that. I don't know any specific details because it still is geographically, as you know, in rural Ontario, you can say you're beside each other, but you can be kilometers and kilometers away. We do have a climate, the municipality has a climate action committee. We've adopted climate and green thinking in our strategic plan, as has our upper tier government, Grey County. So every decision that our council makes is through that green lens, and we look at that. And I think the biggest thing that we have found, and it's not directly related to that, but we all know, and I'm sure you probably heard of Bruce Power, which is that great big, and what how that has impacted us, not from their business, they've been tremendous community partners. We see them supporting our hospitals and all of that, but it has really affected our workforce and our housing stock, because they're like a magnet in the middle, and housing there is full and they've attracted all their workforce. So you can see this larger radius now creating that sort of evolved around them. So it's had other implications that you think it's a great win, and then we go, oh, we have real workforce issues here that are a challenge for us. And that's probably not a specific answer, Claire, because I am not informed enough on that project specifically, but that's sort of the best I can do right now.
No, that's totally fine. Yeah, I mean, they are really related, just kind of having the business attract some, but
yep,
not everyone. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Breanna, did you have one more question?
Yeah, I kind of have two. You answered one of my questions though pretty well. I just want to elaborate on it a little bit, talking about small businesses and COVID. Just because how so many small businesses have been grossly affected, but you were talking about how being adaptable is helping a lot of small businesses thrive. But I'm wondering if Grey Bruce is giving any funding to help business, or what are they doing to struggling businesses to help them stay afloat, especially if there are more lockdowns to come. We don't know what else is how long this is going to go for.
Exactly. So there's a couple of things there, and that is a fairly big question, but I appreciate it because I think it's important. First of all, I will tell you, I've never worked, until I took this job, I've never worked in the belly of the beast of government. I've worked with governments for ages. And there are restrictions. Governments can't, certainly municipal governments are not able under provincial legislation to what we call bonus private businesses. So just because we think your business is great, we can't give you benefit over another. So we have tools that we can use. We have something called a community improvement plan, which is an opportunity, not just for COVID, but for anything, where businesses can apply for grant support through programs, and municipalities don't have to have a plan like that, but a lot of them do. It can help with signage or facade improvement. Our municipality added a COVID retrofit grant right away. It was one of the first things we did. We did it early, and then we found out all kinds of provincial things covered that anyway. So it was a little bit redundant, but we're trying to monitor the market. The other thing that I have observed, and I see it play out, is there is a very strong regional approach to collaboration around or from government entities and agencies, both at the federal, provincial, and local levels. How do we get this information out? So my colleagues and I in economic development, since COVID, we meet minimum once a month to look at strategies and support, because we know businesses and residents don't recognize municipal boundaries. We also know that there is no playbook for COVID. You can't go and look at the manual and go, this is how you deal with it. This is the best way. We don't know that. So we try to brainstorm and come up with best practices. There are just a ton of supports out there for businesses. It may not be enough for all of them, but I get the provincial news releases since the beginning of this, and we get, I get 3-4 news releases every day on something. So part of what we really try to do, if we aren't able to specifically provide grants or financial support to businesses, we really try to curate that information for our businesses and make sure we disseminate it back to them on a regular basis, so that they are aware of the opportunities. The other thing that we knew very on, and certainly it's our approach in Grey Highlands, is if I have a business call me who's struggling and, Michelle, I thought I could apply for this and I can't. We really work to facilitate them through the process. So rather than just saying, yeah, you call Freddie and Freddie, here's his extension. And then, they get in that loop of no, press here or Freddie's away. We really try to walk everybody through, here, I'm going to introduce you to Breanna. Breanna, keep me posted if there's anything else I can do. So we try not to leave those loose ends, and we'll follow up with people. And I know that is not, doesn't always get them the answers they want, but I think we've observed that people are feeling very isolated and alone, and this is big, and there are so many myriad of things. Many small business owners don't know where to begin. It's just overwhelming. They're also trying to pay their rent or keep product on the shelf or deal with staffing. So if we can find a way to walk them through the system or make those calls or call our MPP up and say, you know what, Freddie's been trying to get a hold of somebody in the ministry. They're really struggling. We need you to help navigate this process. That's our responsibility. And it may not be the right answer, or may not get them the answer they want right now, but we found it highly important in making sure that they feel they're not alone navigating this.
That really speaks to the values you were talking about too, of just the Grey Highlands.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yep. Breanna, did you have a second part to that or another question?
I did, yeah. If we have time, is that okay?
Yeah, I've got a couple minutes. I do have a meeting at 1:30, but I can go in a couple minutes late, so.
Okay, do we want to ask my question, or is there any other questions, Matthew or Emily, that you would like to ask? Since this is like where we found you was from the article about the Green Initiative and the micro businesses. So how are you ensuring that these micro businesses are green, or are you just trying to avoid the development of more big corporations?
Yeah, so we have, as I said earlier, everything we look at is through a green lens.
Yeah.
I have found that business and economic development never works well when you tell somebody what they have to do.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do, Breanna, is seek out like-minded partners. So we talk about our philosophy, our value system, what matters to us, and try to encourage and find businesses or partners who share that philosophy. I don't know enough about manufacturing widgets to see if it's the right fit, or do you use green technology? I don't know how you do that. But what we can do is say, for you to belong or be part of this community, this is what the community values. We think you are interested in this area because of that very value system, and this is what matters to us. And we've never really had to enforce anything. And I think the other thing is, as you start to try to enforce standards, then you become the big brother enforcement agency. And that's not who we are. We want people to embrace this life, embrace this community. We want to welcome people who are coming here for that reason. And we kind of just think it'll work out on its own. Do we have levers? If somebody's really doing things badly, of course, there are environmental standards that you could go to. I'm going to have to deal with any of that. So you can see my colleagues call it the work I do. I don't work in infrastructure, so I don't work with laying pipes or paving roads or any of that. They talk about economic development as being the fluff. It is. It's a big, soft vision. And yes, we have all kinds of tools that we use, but really what we are, and you'll see on our department is economic and community development. economic and community are two sides of the same coin. So if we can foster that shared vision for what we want our future to be, then I think we'll be okay.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah, that was a really great economic and community are two sides of the same coin. I've never heard that said quite like that. And yeah, that was really powerful. So yeah,
Thank you. I do have to jump off, guys. Thank you for your time.